Working on a 2000 Dodge 1500, and we're going to relocate the jack for changing the tire. Here's the factory jack here for the truck, and I just had that underneath the driver's seat because I think originally it came in underneath this back seat here, but we got the sub taking up all the space, so we're gonna look for a better spot to put that. Let's start off with the type of jacks we could be using for this truck. I used to, with all my older trucks, I'd have one of these big long jackalls, and I'd have it just behind the seat. Now that'd be a regular cab half ton, and it worked fine for back then. It was it's all we knew, is what we were used to. Problem is with this thing is it's big, it takes up a lot of real estate, and it's heavy. And sometimes that mechanism down there will bugger up on you, and then the thing doesn't really want to work at all. And if you got to get in there and pull your pins out of here by hand while you're jacking this thing, not the best situation. And if this handle ever caught you in the head, you know it. Here's a factory jack at like a mid-70s Dodge half-ton regular cab. This would have been mounted under the window washer jug on the rad support. And here's the bracket that would hold that in place there. And this one here, they would have had the tire iron, the end on the tire iron, which would have been like just a sharp end, would fit in there, and you'd spin the jack clockwise or counterclockwise to raise or lower this thing. I don't know if anybody ever actually used them. That's why I had that jackall. It was it might have been big and heavy and everything, but definitely probably easier to operate. But you know, here's the factory one, and that's the same one as we have in that white truck there. And also too, an idea I came up with years ago was I have like a broken socket extension. So what I did was I just got a piece of flat bar and to fit in there, and then I just welded that on the end of the socket extension, and with the thought of using the ratchet, you just spin it around either way to raise or lower that thing. Might make it a little faster, a little easier. And then so I just made a couple different ones there, and then if that wasn't long enough, then you just put an extension on there, and away you go. So in all honesty, I don't like either one of those other options. The jackall is big and heavy, takes up a lot of room. There's no good place to put it. The other one is it's not user friendly, and this is what I choose. So go get yourself a bottle jack down at the hardware store or something like that. Find the one that's going to fit underneath the rear axle. So I just put this underneath the axle tube there, the rear end, and then in the case of my truck here, it has a front diff as well, so it'd be the same difference in the front. And what I did was, you go get yourself a long bar, and you could get whatever length you want. You want them long, get them long. You want them shorter, get them shorter. Grab the sockets you need to get off them wheel nuts. And then what I did was I just grind a recess in the end of the handle, and that's going to grab our screw here for tightening it clockwise. And once you tighten it clockwise, then that's going to create the pressure so you can pump up the jack. So then once you've done that, you can pump up your jack. It also has this piece here where you can thread it up. That'll give you a little more room, a little finer adjustment, I guess. I don't know. And then when you're done, you got the end, and then you turn that in there counterclockwise, and that just bleeds off the pressure. In our case, there's no truck or anything like that. There's no weight, so you have to push it down by hand. And so this is the jack that we want to use. And now the next thing is how we're going to mount it. So for mounting the jack, went back to the factory setup that they had on them old trucks. And the only thing is that doesn't fit very well on there. So what I did was I modified this, and then so we're going to use this to mount our bottle jack, and then we got to find a location. There wasn't a whole lot of options on this truck. We can't really put that jack, well, I don't want to put it inside the box, and I'm not thinking of putting it underneath the box or the chassis or anything like that. Can't put it in the cab. So the only option we really have is underneath the hood here. Originally I was thinking about over there because there's lots of space. Then I got looking at things and I decided that this little spot here worked out perfect. Couldn't put it on over there because we've got all those hoses and stuff. So we looked at putting it right here. This is what it looks like out of the truck, and all we did was we just modified that original bracket here. We ended up cutting off these two fasteners here, and then we welded on these two tabs. Drilled a hole in either one, got my long bolt, and welded a nut on the other end so that this will just be removed from the front. We got a piece of pipe, and that pipe kind of was the closest thing I had to kind of matching the diameter of the barrel of the jack here. And so I put a little kind of like a little pocket for it to rest in here, and then I cut this piece in here to go along the top. Then we cut the center section out of our bracket here, and once we assembled it all together, then I just welded that on here, one there, and then one on the inside there. And then we did the same on the back. Kind of manipulated this hinge a little bit, and then we welded it there and there again. And so this is in there. The only thing I have left to do, because I just, you know, I don't want anything happening, is I'm probably going to end up drilling a hole and maybe putting like a pin in there, so in the event that the truck's driving around, rattling around, that this is not going to come loose. On the inside of the firewall here, all we did was we just removed this factory bolt right there, and then we come around to the front, drew a line here to try and measured it out to find out where that spot would be here, and we just drilled a hole. And for the purists out there, that's all you're doing. You're just putting a hole there. And then we used a 1/4 inch bolt. 1/4 inch bolt will fit through that factory hole. And if ever you wanted to get rid of this thing and put it back to factory, you just simply put the factory bolt back in. Here we are with the finished installation. The bracket is bolted to the frame here. It'd be a 1/4 inch bolt, goes through. Comes out the other side there. Got that nut tacked on the bracket, that's what it threads into. It goes through the factory hole, which is, it looks like it's either a fine thread 3/8 or be a metric fastener. So you can remove that bracket and put your factory bolt back in, no problem. Haven't damaged anything there. It's in there good and tight. We ended up going with a coupler nut, tightened it on, tacked on a washer here so that it's got a little more meat to grab the hasp here, whatever it is. Also tacked on a washer onto our carriage bolt, so once you take this nut off, that's not going to fall out of there. That'll just stay put. And we got a pull pin in here for keep that locked in place, so this won't come off, and then it'll just be a 9/16 to take that off, loosen that off, and then loosen the bracket, and you can drop. You take the jack and you could drop it down. There's lots of space here to get it out, and also lots of space in here to remove it.